Hola, 'tis I, Alycia. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing fine. Oh, it's another day here in paradise, and I use the word paradise using it very loosely. Hope you're doing well. Anyhow, so let's see. What do I want to check in on today? I want to look into the Winchester House, the Winchester Mystery House, okay? So if you don't know about it, or if you've never been, it is a home, and it's in San Jose, California. I have been many, many times. I love it. It's like one of those. I went to the house when I was a kid on, one of those family vacations, and back in the day when you would drive up the Pacific Coast Highway, that I don't even know if that road's open, because it's like had a bunch of like mudslides and stuff, and California, gosh darn it, it's so epic, and they have this budget surplus, or so they said. I don't know, but they can't get that highway to stay open. Maybe they finally opened it, but anyhow, I remember as a kid, like, you go up the one, you could go stop at Hearst Castle, and then we're going to keep going, and go up to San Jose, go to the Winchester House, and then I don't remember what road that was. It's not off the one, I don't believe, but they used to have on the road, on the side of the road, they had a billboard, like old school billboard, not one of these fancy digital things, and it was like Winchester Mystery House, and it was kind of an old spooky sign. It was so fun. It just made you all excited as a kid, because you didn't have internet, and didn't really know what was going on, but it sounded spooky. So totally loved it. And I've gone back. I don't remember how many years it's been since I've been there. 5 maybe, I don't know. Lockdown changes your time. Anyhow, the last time we went, they had opened up some new areas, and we got to go up to, I think I told you this before, but we went up to this open attic type area. It was kind of like, I don't know, it wasn't that exciting to me, and we had a stinky German in our tour group, like no deodorant, and it was summer, and I was like, oh, brah, deodorant, por favor. So that kind of made it not cool. Anyhow, but here's a story for the Winchester House and Sarah Winchester. So Sarah Winchester was married to William Winchester, and he had the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. It's a pow, 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 pow kind of company. So let me read you what I wrote here for my notes, and then we'll get into it. She was the heir by marriage to the Winchester fortune. After her husband's death in 1881, she inherited roughly $20 million. So in 2019, that would be over $500 million, as well as 50% of the company, which continued to give her income equal to $1,000 a day, or in 2019 dollars, that would be $26,000 a day. So girlfriend was cha-chinging it every day. So she had like more money than she knew what she could do with. She was like more wealthy than a TikToker, super wealthy, okay? Now, she has all this money, and because her husband's, he's kicking it with the pill bugs. Daughter passed away from what I could gather, essentially malnutrition. So she's like alive for a month, about. So after the passing of her husband and her child, Sarah's here thinking, oh, I must be cursed. Supposedly, that's how the rumor goes. Oh, I'm so cursed. I got to check in with a medium. What do? I got all this money, have all this guilt. Oh, all the people who've been taken off the earth plane by my fortune that I'm getting now. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Oh, lament, lament, lament. Vogue. Okay, and so she consulted this medium, and she said, go head west, because at the time she was in Connecticut. William, I guess, came through the medium and said she's supposed to use the money to build a home for the spirits who had fallen victim to the Winchester. And if she doesn't build this house, she's going to be haunted by those spirits for the rest of her life. Sure, that sounds logical. All right, so Sarah heads out west. She started building the house in 1884 with staircases that ascended through several levels before ending abruptly. They opened up to blank walls. They opened up to ceilings. They went into corners. They just like, it was to confuse the spirits, apparently. Or confuse people. I don't know. Out of the 13 bathrooms in the home, only one was functional. This was to confuse the spirits as well, that were wishing to haunt a spigot. Now, I thought that was interesting because I've never heard that as folklore before, but kind of curious about spirits haunting spigots. And she would sleep in a different room every night to confuse the spirits so they couldn't find her. So in the years that she had lived in the house, the residents of San Jose had started to whisper about Miss Winchester. Psst, 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 psst. Right? And that she was strange, and they didn't know much about her. Apparently, she must not have like hung out with too many people in the town, probably because they're all a bunch of nasty gossips. And so she's in the house. Nobody really knew much about her. She didn't have much family. I think she had a niece or something. Anyhow, then so she passed. And then after she passed, the house was empty, and a local investor had bought the house for $135,000. I mean, come on. If I could buy the Winchester house for $135,000, I'd be all over that. It's amazing. And then 5 months after she died and this investor bought it, it was opened up to the public. Okay, so little is known about Sarah Winchester. There are people, her employees apparently liked her. There's a few neighbors or friends, people who had said she was a nice lady. But in an effort to get people to the house, the stories of the hauntings and the ghosts and the mysteries and the construction that could never end started to pop up. So it's like, was she distraught? Was she trying to appease the spirits? Or was she just an introvert and she just wanted to create this crazy house? And because she was like totally falling in love with MC Escher drawings. I don't know. Let's look into it because, you know, there is some kind of interesting things in the house that I'm totally digging and wish I had in my own house. Like, she has these like spiderweb windows, you know. And the number 13 figures prominently into like the drain holes, like how many holes are in the drains of the sinks. There's 13 in the drain holes. There now in the seance room, there it's kind of like a, don't quote me. I don't know that it's an octagon, but it's kind of similar shape, the room. I know it's not totally round. Anyway, it has 13 hooks. Now I believe the hooks were put on after she passed. Now they said it was a seance room, right, where she's going to go and hook up and do her seances. At the same time, this was the time during spiritualism, so I don't know for sure that she's going to be doing something that's totally like considered weird at this time because spiritualism was around. The other thing was that there was perhaps a rumor that maybe she was a female Freemason and that this was a Rosicrucian, a sanctum. It's a special place because she was a Rosicrucian. Okay, she was a Rosicrucian. That was a Freemason, I guess. It was a special place where the Freemasons typically practiced meditation and study, and it's at the near center of their home. So there's that option as well. Doesn't lend as much to the woo part of the Winchester Mystery House, but I don't know. Let's see what we can find out about Sarah Winchester and her house and all this stuff. So let's see if we can get into the bottom of it. Interesting. Okay, so what do we have here? Looking into Sarah Winchester's house, and we have the Bell Witch. We have Blame with the Bell Witch here. We have Blue Moon, Second Chances. And we have the Painter, some strength and power. So this is trying to assuage the guilt that she felt about people whose lives were taken off the earth plane due to the company her husband had. So there is truth into that rumor that has persisted all these years. Okay, we have there's also this certain amount of like, there's a new connection to spirituality that perhaps wasn't there for her before in her life, and like she suddenly caught the bug of the divine. Okay, so there's this also new interest in spirituality that's like come forth, like taking it seriously. This isn't just a passing thing. So that's coming here. We also we have the axe. So we're trying to cut ourselves away from the past and having that define a future. This almost feels like a cutting of like a breaking the ancestral ties that bind, breaking the pattern, breaking the chains, so we're trying to chop that, leave that in the past. Okay. Mockingbird, prophecies and communication. So I do believe she must have at some point spoken to someone, or she had her own divine communication where she got a message. Somehow she was delivered a message, whether that was through a medium or that was through her own meditation in her meditation room, quote, seance room. She did have some type of communication that had kind of got her to this idea. And again, the crystal grotto, this is all about energies. Okay, so at some point, yes, I want to cut myself from the past. Something's telling me I have to do this. Okay, we have the crossroads, making decisions. And I think this is very much like I am all left alone. This is like now me on my own. How do I forge my path ahead? What do I do? How do I spend my time here? So very much that. This is my second chance with the horseshoe. This is my second chance to break those chains that bind. And then we have the pine cone, which is, this is interesting. The third eye, new perspective. Okay, pineal gland, right? That's, the pineal gland, they say looks like a pine cone, and it's like between your eyes. And then if you turn your head, it's right in the middle. It's in there. And so this is very much like she's connected. So I think she may have spoken to a medium, or she might have been doing the channeling herself. She's very much like, seems like going forward and connecting on her own, and manifesting the messages that is directing her to create this home. Okay, so we're doing this in an effort to kind of make things right. But let's keep going, because she's trying to make things right. But at the same point, why would you want to confuse the spirits? Right? So the house design doesn't really speak to that. The house design, if I'm trying to make things right, is that I'm trying to make things right, but at the same point, I know that these damn spirits are going to be chasing me throughout the house, apparently. And so the knowledge at the time of how spirits are there, she's just like, well, I got to confuse these ones till I can shake them off my trail, and then I'm going to move forward and be a good person. This I'm not understanding. So let's look into, why is this place like this if we're trying to make for a better day ahead? This looks like there's something following attached to her. At least that's her belief. This feels like she might have had something that was attached to her, and it was jacking with her. So it's almost like at some point, I am trying to atone for the sins of my husband's company. I'm building this house. I'm doing these things. I'm getting my divine downloads. At some point, yes, she's spiritual, and she's found God and having her come to Jesus moment. At the same point, she actually feels like she is like cursed, or she's got some attachment. There's some type of thing that is attached to her, like a possession kind of, or attachment. Okay, there's some type of attachment she feels to her. This is why we're getting into the good book. or whatever book she got into. Okay, so we have the Hellhound. This is the cruelty, the fear tactics, right? And we also have the Boo Hag, fear tactics, discipline. She's got this going on in the background. This is the like motivation for building this house. So it's to confuse the demons that are tormenting her personally, her personal demons. This is not for all of the spirits all over that have been taken off the earth plane by the tools of her husband's company. That's not it. This is her own personal demons. You know, she's very much in here of like, this is why all this shit has happened to me. My husband is taken away. My daughter's taken away. I've had all this run of bad luck. And it's because there's this thing now that I'm all alone and she's kind of like spiraling here. I've got this shit attached to me. Okay. Then we have instrument, self-expression, speaking truth. The house was a way for her to have her communication with the spirit in a way that was not so up close and personal as you would find doing a seance, something like that. This was a way to basically say, no, get out of my house, no, leave me alone, stop following me, So this is her trying to get away from her spirits, her demons that are following her. Okay. Then we have the Black Eyed Peas, the wealth of prosperity. So has all of this. This is her. She's using the money as a tool to build a house to hide from the demons that are following her. Interesting. That's not what I expected. Okay, we have the raccoon here. This is about perseverance and curiosity. I think also while she's doing this, she doesn't want to mention this to anybody. Like, I don't know, maybe she wasn't into getting an exorcism. Maybe she wasn't aware. I'd have to assume she was aware. But it's kind of like, this feels like I'm very much I want to see if I can fix stuff on my own. And so this is how I'm going to do it. I have the money to do it. And so I'm going to see if this works. Okay. The peacock, this is about vanity, pride. It's like, and there's a certain amount of like, I want to be noticed. Okay. And so I don't think she minded that people talked about her. Okay. So there was that. It's kind of like, well, these people are like, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like, well, these people are jealous because they don't have my money. And so I'm going to show them like what money can do. At the same time, she's like being tormented by her own personal demons. Like, okay. All right. And then we have crimes of passion, dangerous urges, and a jealousy. Okay. Look at that. It's almost kind of like the hiding around the corner from the ghost in the house kind of thing. Isn't it crazy? Okay. And then we have the cicada, the life cycle. She's trying to break these things, whatever they may be. They may not necessarily be the boo hag and the hellhound, but she's trying to break the pattern that these don't follow her into the next life. So it's kind of is like breaking an ancestral bond. So she feels like these things are just coming down. Excuse me, I'm trying to record video here. Thank you. She's trying to break the chains that bind, because I think she feels like this is like a family curse type thing that's coming down through her line, and like everything she touches turns to no bueno shit. And then blackberries is trying to get free of this agency, independence, right? She's just trying to get free of this. Okay. Not what I expected. Alrighty. So she's building this crazy ass house. She does want to flaunt shake her tail feathers a little bit about it, but she's haunted by her own personal demons, and she thinks she's going to shake them in this house, and she's trying to, I guess, stop the curse from continuing. There was a thing too about, was the house actually haunted, or was that made up story to get people visit? Now, if we think about this, Sarah didn't, as far as we know, Sarah didn't leave anything to talk about any of the stuff we uncovered here. So she didn't say, oh my God, I'm trying to flee my own personal demons in this house. She didn't say that, so nobody knows that for sure. So when these people bought this house, did they just say, man, this house is crazy, it must be a confused ghost? Or did the people buy the house, and within the first arriving, they're like, dude, this house is haunted. Did you see the guy down there in the a basement. They have said that there's certain ghosts that they say they've seen down there in the like basement, like some workmen. There's a couple workmen I think they've seen, and who knows? Those could be marketing things. But curious, did the people when they bought this house, did they realize the house was haunted, or did they just want to market this house because it's crazy town and beautiful? Let's see. So this is rather interesting as well. So when they got this house, they were super excited, and at the time, it was kind of like, I can't believe we lucked out. Can't believe we lucked out and got this property. So I think there was already some thoughts on what they were going to do with this house. So it was already decided at some point this is going to be a money-making venture, and can't believe we lucked out and we got it. Okay? This is because they're already going on the story that's been rumored out there in the hood. Okay? We have the possum, so there's this it says diversity, but it also says plurality, so it's like more than one. So there's some other people involved in the ideas. And see, here's the luck. Oh, I feel totally excited. We just we got this house for $135,000. I don't know what that would have been back in the day, but I'm sure it was a good deal. And Ultra Water. Now they were not quite sure. They heard the rumors and thought, hey, that's great. That's going to be great for marketing like a permanent haunted house feature. We can make money all year long, right? But they weren't quite sure if it was haunted, so, well, we better just try and bless this anyway, okay? Then we have over here, we have the alligator. There's like, and the salamander. Once we're in here, I think there might have been some inklings. There's some inklings of something's not quite kosher here, and they're just kind of but this is, I wonder if they had done this before, like this was their reinvention. Like, is this like an industry? Whoever bought this house, was this an industry like they've been in before, and this was like, hey, we're gonna take our haunted house on a trailer, and now we're going to have a permanent haunted house? Like, this is their industry, like they did haunted houses? I'm not sure there. And then we have the hurricane lamp. That would be so cool if you could do like a hurricane lamp tour in the Winchester house. That would be amazing. You can go, you used to be able to take tours on Friday the 13th. Like, I was like, I've always wanted to do that, but that's a bit of a drive. Anyway, the lantern, it was like, we're going to let this haunted thing be the guide for, like, the theme for this home. Yeah, it's just like, they might have had an inkling by cleaning up and hearing some reports and getting the house ready for patrons to come in. And they already had the stories in the hood going out there, like, so that was already out there. So yeah, they're like, yeah, let's totally go with this. But, you know, I did happen to see something spooky out of the corner of my eye, so it might be true that there is something going on here. But it's not the same thing that Sarah was trying to get away from. Okay. Now let's just, I'm just curious about, like, let's see if, tell us, Sarah, about, were you a female Freemason? How interesting. It's almost like a, after the passing of her husband, it looks like she really kind of got into wanting to dabble, and this seemed like an organized event, or organized organization to help her further doing some magic. She was like getting into this. This was her tapping. She already knows that this thing's attached to her. She's already like had her convo with the medium. She's tapped into her spiritualism. She's kind of like at a, what do I have to lose spot in my life at this point. And she's trying to make shit right. So yeah, She's totally like getting in, like she's like into, like she's into this stuff. Like she's totally into witchy shit. I think we could call like Sarah Winchester the original witchy witch. Winchester witch? Maybe. It is kind of like interesting. Like, yeah, I'm just, she's going head first down the rabbit hole. Who knew? Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Adios.